G'day YouTube and welcome back to Perfecting Pete. So after declaring how much I loathe and hate cardio on this very channel, why would I suddenly start jogging every single morning for the last 9 days in a row? What place does cardio have in helping us on our weight loss journey? That's what we're going to discuss in this week's episode. Before we get started with this week's content, I just wanted to say if you're joining us for the first time, thank you very much for watching. I release videos every Tuesday, pretty much covering my weight loss journey and all the tips and tricks I pick up along the way about weight loss, health, the health industry in general, some of the garbage that's been put out there in the market to help sell you things. It's pretty much a no BS approach, so that if you're like me and have been sitting around talking and thinking about getting started with losing weight for a long period of time, hopefully this channel will help motivate you and also give you some information to help get you started. Because, in my experience, that first step is often the leap of faith, if you like. It's certainly the hardest step. So if you like what you see, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, get notifications every time I release a video, and leave me a comment. I reply to all of them. So on with the show. Cardio. So after spending 10 years avoiding cardio whenever possible, all of a sudden I've started jogging every day. So I've been running now for 9 days in a row. Every morning I've been sticking to 5 kilometers each morning, with the exception of Wednesday and yesterday where I did a 10K run. So I've hit it pretty hard, and the reason I wanted to do that was really just to adjust my body, get through that initial muscle pain. I've noticed now that when I go for my 5K run, not only is it much easier for me to continue jogging and to continue pushing myself, but I also find that I don't get leg pain afterwards the next day anymore. So really it was just to push myself through that initial muscle pain, which you expect out of using muscles that you haven't used for a long time. But really this channel isn't so much about what I've been doing and why. It's more about why cardio is important for weight loss. Now, it's important to remember this is just another tool in the weight loss toolkit. Ultimately, all you're trying to do is increase your caloric deficit. So, by burning more energy while exercising than you would if you were sitting around being sedentary, then obviously, if you continue to eat the same amount of energy in, but you're increasing your output, then you create a bigger deficit, which means that you're going to lose weight. The other major benefits from cardio obviously are cardiovascular, which is your heart and lung cycle, or heart and lung organs in terms of their health. And the other thing is in terms of building muscle. So you will be building, at least initially, if you haven't been running on a regular basis, you will initially build some lean muscle tissue in your legs to help pump you further. The harder you push yourself over time, the more muscular your legs will become. Now, the reason why that's important for weight loss is the larger mass we have of lean muscle, the more energy we burn when we're doing nothing. Your body actually uses a lot of energy to keep muscle tissue intact. So really, as you're building more lean muscle tissue, you are increasing your energy output just doing nothing. So it tends to be a cycle that feeds itself. So not only are you increasing your energy output by exercising, but you're then putting on lean muscle mass, which increases your energy output when you're doing nothing. So, it's obviously extremely beneficial to weight loss. Having said that, like I said before, it is just a tool. Ultimately, diet is still king. It still represents between 60 and 80% of weight loss overall, depending on who you listen to and which article you read. But fundamentally, this is just another tool in the toolkit. And the other thing to note is when I talk about running, it doesn't have to be running. It could be swimming, obviously lap swimming. It could be any kind of cardio. Find something that you hate the least. If you're like me and hate cardio, find something you hate the least. The worst, the lesser of all evils that you can find. Try a bunch of different cardiovascular exercises until you find something that you can live with. Now, people have reassured me continuously that if you stick to your exercise, you will eventually get to a point where you enjoy it. I'm not at that stage yet. My muscle pains have gone. I'm in the first 3 or 4 days. not the first day, but from day 2 onwards, I couldn't walk down my staircase at home, or, I found walking up was painful, walking down was excruciating. But that pain's gone away now, and I've continued to run, so it's not because I didn't, I haven't continued to exercise. I've just known my muscles have now adjusted. So you kind of need to push yourself over that initial hump. And I'm hoping if I continue to push myself, then I will eventually get to a point where I actively enjoy it. The other tips I would have for starting cardio, and that's really what the bulk of this episode's about. First of all, have a goal in mind. Know what it is you're setting out to do. Now, in my case, I just wanted to get out there each morning and cross the starting line. I love that saying. I heard it the other day in a coached run of all places, a pre-recorded audio that came with the Nike Run Club app that I use to track my run. But it's all about setting out to cross the starting line. The finish line, I know I'll get to, but know what your specific goal for getting out there and doing cardio is. And I don't mean your big picture goal. That's, a lot of this content is about big picture. It's about weight loss. It's about increasing caloric deficit. It's about, increasing lean. That's big picture stuff. Small picture stuff is, what are you going to do today on your jog? So for me, when I get out there, my goal is run or jog as much of the course as I can, because, I'll be honest, 5 kilometers, I cannot jog continuously for 5Ks. Far from it. What I will say though, is this morning, day 9, I can jog considerably more of that course than I could on day 1 or 2. So, and the other thing is, I think it was Friday, I've been on holidays this week. I go back to work on Monday, which is tomorrow. I also took a day off, and what I mean is I still got out there and I still went on my 5 kilometers, but I forced myself to stick to a fast walking pace, just to give my muscles a bit of time to recover, just to give my energy levels a bit of a time to recover. So, know what you're setting out to do before you walk out that door. So, for me, most days, my plan is to whittle down the amount of time it takes me to do a full circuit. So I think, and my pictures of my actual runs are on my Instagram page. So if you want to check them out, you'll see them there. They show the amount of time that it took me and how many Ks I jogged, and my average pace. But so I am going off the top of my head, and, don't correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 44 or 45 minutes the first 5K I did. And I've gotten that down to 42 or 41. And I think the average pace on the 10K was the best one. That translated down to about between 40 and 41 minutes. So, my goal really was, first of all, to improve the amount of time on the course that I could jog before having to take a walking break and catch my breath, but also my overall time, which is fundamentally the same thing. It's a different way of measuring the same thing. Be self-competitive is my advice. I'm not setting out there to beat anyone's records. I'm never going to be an Olympic runner. Don't want to be, but I'm trying to beat my own record. Now, on most days, that record is how long it takes me to complete the course. It could also be, how far I can run on a particular, straight portion of the circuit before I have to slow down. Or it could just be to get out there how many days in a row I can get out there. So I'm up to 9. But be self-competitive is my advice. I personally find that to be quite motivating. If you're the sort of person that is competitive against other people, maybe find a way to do that. I know that Strava is a running app that will actually give you a bunch of common tracks, or at least portions, between point A and B that might be on your track, and it will track your time against anyone else with the Strava app that uses that same portion of roads. So, if you're the sort of person that likes to compete with others, maybe that's a good app for you to check out. I haven't actually used it. I use Nike Run Club, which we'll get to in a sec. The other thing is track everything. So, if you want to see progress, if you're motivated by week-on-week progress, then you need to track how you're progressing. Now, for me, that takes the form of an Apple Watch. You could just as easily use, any one of a number of GPS running watches. Garmin makes some, TomTom makes some. There's a whole bunch. Even if you don't want to go out and spend the money, just a stopwatch in your pocket, maybe not your pocket, but maybe start wherever you're starting, hit a stopwatch, and if you do a round circuit where you end where you started, maybe turn that stopwatch off, and you'll have a rough time as to how long it took you to complete the circuit, and try and improve every day. Maybe write down what your times were. But whatever you do, my advice is track the statistics associated with your run so that you can see week on week progress or day on day progress, so that you can identify where you're struggling and maybe focus on those areas. So if you're struggling to run uphill, maybe walk before the hill and walk after the hill and focus a lot of your energy and attention in running up that hill. Interestingly though, I've actually found I get more pain. I think most people get more pain running downhill than uphill. So it's more energy to run uphill, but it's more muscle pain to run downhill. So, you know, there's lots of different areas where you could work on self-improvement if you track. The other tip I've picked up is slow down, pace yourself. You are not there to run the whole course the first time you set out to do it. Realistically, you're probably not going to run the whole course the 20th time you do it. So slow down. The goal, at least for me, my goal is jog as slow as possible whilst still being a jog until I can jog the entire course. Then I'll worry about how fast. What I do notice is I have to consciously slow my jog down because I feel a bit silly. I'm jogging really slowly. It's almost a walk, but it's kind of one step up from a power walk. Really, you know, in order to maximize the fat burning benefit you're getting out of cardio, you really want to figure out what your maximum heart rate is. And there is a calculation. I think it's, don't quote me, I might throw it up on the screen actually, but I found a calculation that estimated your maximum heart rate. And I think for a man, it was 180 minus your age. No, that can't be right. It must be 220 minus your age. I'll throw it up on the screen, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So that gives you an estimated maximum heart rate. And really to maximize the amount of energy or the amount of fat that you're burning, you don't want to go too high. If you are pushing yourself too close to your maximum heart rate, your body starts digging into muscle tissue to grab energy to provide you with that immediate burst. If you don't run fast enough, if you walk, it will tend to burn glucose rather than fat. Really, you want to sit in the fat burning zone, people call it, and which is about 60 to 80% of your heart rate maximum. So that's one other tip. Slow down. You know, you want to track your heart rate. If you've got a heart rate monitor with you, I use my Apple Watch, and just monitor your heart rate and make sure it kind of sits in that pocket. And trust me, it's 60 to 80% of your maximum. It's very easy to get into that 60% zone, and it's a wide zone. So it's actually not that hard to make sure that the entire run, you're in that fat burning zone. Just a couple more topics before we close out, because I don't want the video to be too long. I've noticed that gear is extremely important. You know, I did a little bit of jogging in December before I really started all this stuff actually, and I went through 3 pairs of shoes. I had and I'm going to drop some names because I specifically went out of my way to find shoes that were comfortable. I tried the Nike Lunar Glide because I liked them. I like the look of them. Big mistake when picking shoes. I then went to the Nike Structure because I discovered that I overpronate. Basically, it's a measure of it's a type of walking gait that requires a lot of support, so that when your foot lands and lifts again, your body is following a good motion that minimizes injury and minimizes pain. So I went to the Nike Structure in the hopes that would help. I think it was the Structure 18 or the Structure 19. And I got lots and lots of pain on the outside of the top of my foot, just near where the tongue sits actually, but on the outsides. And it didn't matter what I did with the laces. I tried alternate lacing them. I Googled some alternate patterns for lacing, something I never thought I'd look up. And that gave me a little bit of relief, but it was still so painful that it was stopping me from running, not because I was out of breath or because my muscles hurt, but because my feet hurt. So I went to a proper running shoe store and had them fit me. They recorded my walking motion. Told me that I was a very extreme overpronator and I have extra wide feet. So they're not particularly big. I'm a size 11 in Australia, but they're quite wide. So I ended up being fitted for a Brooks, I can't remember the specific shoe. I might throw it up on the screen, but it was a Brooks branded shoe. It was a wide fit and it has a hell of a lot of support for an overpronator. So shoes are extremely important. Without those shoes, I cannot run more than a K. Certainly not comfortably. I've found clothes are important. You know, make sure you've got, my advice is don't run in a cotton shirt. find a synthetic like like a brand name running shirt. I know it sounds gimpy for some people that hate that sort of stuff. Fine, but I found active wear, when active, is actually really important for comfort. I will only wear synthetic underwear when running. Otherwise, I get chafing. I'm a bigger guy. I'm certainly, guy. It's not just specifically guys. It's more my thighs, and certainly less so these days now that I've dropped a lot of weight. But if I do too much exercise and start to get hot and sweaty, the parts of my body that rub together will certainly did chafe. So I only wear synthetic underpants. I only wear dry fit or that type of, sweat wicking socks, if not synthetic socks. And most of my running gear now is completely synthetic. So my shorts and my long sleeve and short sleeve shirts. But it's really important to be comfortable when you're running. And the last piece of gear that I wanted to cover, is something that I found accidentally a long time ago. I bought it. I think I bought it for a girlfriend as well, because she was doing a lot of exercise. And it's called the Flip Belt. I'll hold it up. Now, unfortunately, I have to hold it up against my eyes or else the focus on the camera won't work. But so this is the Flip Belt. It's basically a loop of Lycra. You need to pick the right size. And it basically it fits around your waist, it fits over your clothes around your waist, typically under your shirt, but over your pants. And it's got these pockets. And these pockets are the perfect size for a phone, for, whatever else you need to carry when you're running. You can actually turn the whole thing. Now, the Flip Belt logo itself is actually reflective, so it's a little bit extra safety. And one of the most important features is inside this pocket, you've got a key holder. So I find that if I put my keys on that hook and throw it inside the pocket, my keys will not move the whole time. Now, this will fit an iPhone Plus in it. So if you're a large, Android or iPhone user, this belt's perfect. There's pockets at the back, there's a big pocket at the back, and there's 2 pockets at the front. But I find that if I put my gear in this, it will not move the whole trip or the whole run. Now, that's really important because obviously you need to be able to get back into your house or your car. I've got a lot of running pants that don't have pockets. I know women have that problem a hell of a lot more than men, but even the pants that I have that do have pockets, I wouldn't put a pair of keys in and run. I'll end up losing them and having to backtrack. Certainly my phone would bounce out of my pocket. So the Flip Belt is brilliant. I've actually got a later one. The new ones now have zips, I think, at the front pocket, but not at the back. I'll have to dig it up. It's somewhere in the house. It's buried in the mess. And you can now get water bottles. They're quite small, but they're water bottles that have a curve that's designed to fit on your back in the Flip Belt pocket, which is a cool idea. I haven't got them, but it might be something I check out if I start doing a half marathon or a marathon, if I go that crazy. But Flip Belt, my advice, jump online. They're not that expensive. They come in a range of colors. It's just a really practical way to carry your gear without putting your phone on an armband, which I see people doing, and I just feel sorry for them, man. There's no way that's comfortable. Anyway, there's lots of other gear, sunglasses and earphones, and I find wireless earphones are a godsend. I use my AirPods, but the sky's the limit. But the key things are comfortable shoes, comfortable clothes, and for me, the Flip Belt I think is invaluable. I wouldn't jog without it, to be frank. Now, last topic before I let you go, because I don't want this to be too long, and I think it's kind of already getting that way. Nike Run Club. Now, I bitched about this on Instagram a few times, just to give you some context. I was trying to use the Nike Run Club is a app on iOS or Android designed to track your running. If you've got a heart rate monitor that's compatible, like the Apple Watch, like a range of others, like the TomTom and Garmin's are all compatible with the app on your phone. The phone will track your pace, your total distance, your heart rate over time. It will, if it's attached to a GPS device, it will give you a map of your run. And it will it'll gather statistics and display them to you over time. So you can compare how you went to the run last week. You can track your total distance travel. You can track, you can tell it what shoes you were wearing while you did the run. And it will track your total kilometers on your shoes so you know when to replace them. It'll track, it'll ask you how much effort you expend so you can expend it on a run. So you can kind of track a whole bunch of data. Now, Nike Run Club is certainly not the only app. There are other apps like Runkeeper. There's, I think Run Runkeeper, yeah. Strava, which is a running and cycling app. There's Zombies Run, which is they've kind of gamified running, which I'm actually keen to check out at some point. There's like 20 apps, or there's probably more. But I stick to Nike Run Club for a few reasons. I just find that its achievement system is motivating for me. To know that I picked up a challenge on Monday Monday. So a week ago, I picked up a challenge. Run 15 kilometers in the week. I smashed that challenge in like day 3. That felt really good. It motivated me to jump onto the next challenge, which is run 50 kilometers in the month of May. Well, I've now achieved that, and I've still got 3 or 4 days left in May. Now there is one for 100 kilometers in May, which obviously, starting in the last week of May, that was never going to happen, particularly for someone like me. But I find that type of stuff, it also tracks your fastest run, your furthest run, your best average pace per kilometer. There's a whole achievement system, and then you also have running levels where it unlocks different background colors for the app, based on total distance that you've traveled inside the app. So that's why I persevere when I have had all of these dramas with the app. Now, the dramas, I've got an Apple Watch with the Nike Run app integrated into it. I have an Apple phone with the Nike Run Club app integrated into it. I have had no end of issues. All I expect to do is to open the app on my phone and my watch, start the run on my phone and finish the run on my phone, have it play music, and play a playlist that I've selected. And then when in the midst of my run, because fundamentally you're pressing, start on your phone, you're putting it in your flip belt or your pocket, and you're taking off, and you won't look at your phone again. You expect it to play music, you expect it to auto pause if you have to stop at a set of lights, and then auto start so it doesn't screw up your stats. But I expect that since the app is also installed on my watch and it's supposed to be integrated, I can look at my watch and it will tell me my current pace, my current distance, my current heart rate. That's all I expect. When I get back, I still stop the run from my phone and I expect it to give me the total stats and a map of the route that I took. Apparently that's too hard about 50% of the time. And I mean 50% of the time. My expectations aren't unreasonable. It did actually do exactly what I just described half of the time that I did it, that I used the app. The other half, something would go wrong. I would look at my watch and it would say, "Are you ready to run today?" Well, I'm already running. It's already started on my phone. What the hell? I've had the watch give me stats that were from 5 minutes ago on my phone. So I actually got my phone out and it says, "You've been running for 15 minutes on my phone and you've been running for 10 minutes on your watch." Heart rate stats are out. In the end, I thought maybe it's because I'm trying to do too much. So I tried starting the run from my watch and finishing it on the watch. Same issues. Just random shit goes wrong. That's what the issues are. They're just intermittent random shit. I've tried starting it on my phone, finishing it on my phone. I've started starting it on my phone, finishing it on my watch, and vice versa. I've tried all these different combinations and permutations. So I decided to go out and buy an Apple Watch 3. And to be honest, it was an excuse to buy a watch, but I was trying to hold out for the next version, which should be in a few months. In the hopes that I could leave my phone at home. The Apple Watch 3 allows me to make cellular calls. So if I get into trouble, I've got a mobile phone with me in my watch. It's got GPS, it's got elevation tracking, it's got everything that my iPhone has essentially. So the idea was leave my phone at home and I won't have these cross-talk issues between the watch and the phone. Now I have to say, in the last 4 days I've been using just the Apple Watch 3, it's been better. Except on 2 of my runs, it hasn't tracked my GPS. So it's given me total distance and time. It's obviously used GPS while I've been running, but when I finished the run, there was no map. So it's just disappointingly stupid how there could be, one of the largest sports companies on this planet can't get a basic phone app right. If you look on the internet, you will find a bazillion problems and a bazillion people complaining about it. But like I said, I persevere because I find that the app, when it works, is super motivating for me. Anyway, I know that's a really long video and I am sorry for that. It's a pretty big topic. It's an important one, I think. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Hopefully you found this video interesting and useful. If you have, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see weight loss videos released every Tuesday. Most Tuesdays. I've been a bit all over the place lately, so there have been a couple that have been delayed by a day or two, but I aim to release videos every Tuesday and certainly every week. So yeah, if you liked the video, if you got some use out of it, hit the like button, hit subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what your cardio of choice is and why you've chosen it. You know, I'm not married to running, so I'm certainly interested to find out what cardio works for you, and maybe it'll convince me to try something different as well. And if you do run, what apps do you use to track your progress? Anyway, that's all I wanted to cover. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.